School isn't every kid's favorite place to be, but for a child experiencing abuse, a classroom can act as a safe haven. Now that kids are back in the classroom, reports of abuse have started to climb. But is this a sign of an increase in abuse or an increase in awareness? 2020 was a shock to all of us, especially our children. Schoolwork went from in-person to online in an instant. And for children in abusive situations, they no longer had a safe place to go.
Well, a lot of our child abuse cases are reported from school districts and doctors' offices. And the big thing that when COVID did hit, everyone went into lockdown and everyone stayed home, those cases dropped.
During that time, the Waco PD Crimes Against Children unit went from seeing an average of 3 to 4 cases a day to not seeing a case for up to 2 weeks sometimes. Fast forward to right now. We are in the middle of a new school year and most students are back in the classroom for in-person learning. But a return to normalcy also means a return of child abuse reports.
There was a 600% increase from last April to this April. So we went from that amount of few cases in April of 2020 to 600 more times that cases in April for this year.
Does this also mean there's been an increase in child abuse? Dr. Berkeley says not exactly.
Child abuse is happening across the board. We believe that for every 1 case reported, at least 10 cases go unreported. But we're seeing more numbers because kids are in a safer place and they're able to tell people who they trust. And mostly it's a teacher.
When they're not going to school, they're not going to their regular scheduled doctor's appointments, that's where those mandatory reporters are. And without those mandatory reporters seeing something that might be off in the child, that means there's no case that's being reported.
Mandatory reporters are on the front lines of protecting children from abuse, but it's not just up to them.
We want families or individuals who suspect child abuse, just make the report. You don't have to investigate it. You don't have to know for sure or certainty that it is happening. If you suspect that the child is being abused, whether physically or sexually, just make the report and allow those who investigate these referrals to do their job.
Signs of abuse and neglect can range from unexplained bruises and welts to behavior extremes or abrupt changes. However, you don't need concrete evidence of abuse before reporting. Officials say a gut feeling can be enough.
And the state law stipulates that as long as a person makes a report in good faith, they're not trying to get anyone in trouble, but they honestly believe that something is wrong, then that's when you should make that call and allow those who investigate to do their job.
The number one thing we say is if you feel something is off, don't be afraid to say something. It doesn't hurt to at least put it on our radar so we can look into it further and make sure that the kid is okay and safe.
If you suspect a child is being abused or neglected, you can contact your local police department or call the Department of Family and Protective Services Abuse Hotline. If it's an emergency, officials urge you to call 911. Sydney Eisenberg, 25 News.